My name is Matheus Diniz. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor. I'm a world champion. I'm an ADCC 2019 world champion. I'm a Pan American champion. I'm currently in New York City training and teaching at Marcelo Garcia Academy. I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for about 18 years and I've been competing since then. Currently, I'm preparing for CJI, the Craig Jones Invitational. It's gonna take place in August in Las Vegas. I'm super excited for, and I'm preparing myself, also training here, feeling amazing. And I'm super excited for my next chapter, not just for CJI, also for the other tournaments that's gonna come after. And yes, so super excited for CJI. Yeah, so I've been training at Marcelo for 13 years and definitely training here. It's amazing. It's a great environment, great people around. And being prepared for CJI here with the people that I'm together every day, feel amazing. Also, it's gonna be my first tournament that I start strength conditioning at DiSalvo, and I'm feeling so ready, so prepared. Combined with the jiu-jitsu training, with the strength conditioning, with the diet that Bianca is giving to me, I'm definitely feeling ready, feeling great. Like I always say, making my mind, my mentality feeling sharp, and that's for me most important thing. Obviously the physically and all that, but making my mind strong would make me believe, and I can really visualize that I can be winning this tournament and plus the other ones that is gonna come after. So I'm super excited, definitely feeling ready, and I can't wait to be able to step on those mats. Same thing I tell people, like on martial art, like it doesn't matter if it's jiu-jitsu or anything, you gotta find the good gym, the right person to be with you,
Yeah, absolutely.
And luckily, we know you, we have mutual friends, you've been training with us, and then I was able to find the right person.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're here.
When you're doing this, I want you to get a little tighter off the box so you can see how my shoulders kind of go back.
I'm Mark DiSalvo, and I own DiSalvo Performance Training in New York City. I started the gym because around 2015, I was realizing that there wasn't a gym or a group of trainers who were really giving the attention and dignity to athletes that was really needed in New York City. And I thought if there was that type of lane that was open here to do that with in strength and conditioning, that I wanted to do it. So I started focusing specifically on grapplers and jiu-jitsu because I was getting involved with jiu-jitsu myself sometime about a year before that. And being a big fan of combat sports, I noticed as I would read or go on the internet that there weren't a lot of people who were spending a lot of time with grapplers. And I just basically went to the lab. I would go to parks, I'd go to any gym I could, because this was before I had this place. And I just started trying to figure things out, talking to grapplers, asking them to come in, starting little groups. And it just built and built and built over the years. Ever since then, I've worked in just about every rule set and time limit that you could ever imagine in jiu-jitsu, from ADCC to IBJJF Worlds, combat jiu-jitsu, spider, EBI, anything that has come and gone, I've probably worked with preparing an athlete in that rule set. Like when I first started this business, I could tell, this is like 10 years ago, nobody was really paying attention to jiu-jitsu athletes. Everyone treated them like MMA athletes. They all treated them like fighters, or they treated them like wrestlers. And there was plenty of literature and training methods on wrestling, judo, MMA, boxing, but not really on jiu-jitsu. There were some guys who were doing it, like one of my mentors, Steve Maxwell, but like it was like nobody was giving it the time it needed for how much the sport was growing. So I became obsessed with like, okay, how can we do this? How can we make it better? How can we use this to really elevate people? the biggest lie I think in jiu-jitsu is that like strength doesn't matter, because at the end of the day you can get cute, you can get you can do the most scientific optimal program, but if you're not getting somebody stronger, if they're not feeling good about what they're doing in the gym, it's like I don't know if it actually, intent really matters. And so you have to really be driving that.
My old coach used to say, strength is only not good when you don't have it.
Yeah.
That's what he says. It's only not good when you don't have it. It's not everything, but it does matter. It does matter. It does matter.
I mean, that's why there's a gym. You know, people want to get stronger, you know, and if your physical frame isn't there, it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, your technique can overcome a lot, but it's like there's a reason there's weight classes in sports. There's a reason they do all this stuff, because, you know, and really just trying to understand people. That's what my big goal is always here, is figuring out, that's why we do everything one-to-one, or if there's other people, it's very small groups.
Yeah.
It's on purpose, because you don't, like, athletes, people are individuals, and, you know, group classes are fun. There's a good dynamic, you know, jiu-jitsu is a group class. Like, we're all kind of doing the same thing, we're all training. But when you're really trying to dig in on your strengths and weaknesses, like, you have to kind of get personal.
Yeah,
and
like
it has to.
different,
yeah, exactly, you know? So you have to, and that's why I've always kept it this way. And that's why, because it's the only way that works, you know? I don't want to compromise on anything like that. And that's how we get to know them.
Squeeze your butt and your thighs at the top. Better. There you go. Perfect, yeah.
I never done any strength conditioning until now.
Right.
I was always afraid of that. Like, the coach pushed me. Like, I know I have injuries, you know? Like, I want to avoid those injuries to get worse.
Right.
Because I'd rather be able to train more jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But and then the good thing about you is, like, you do jiu-jitsu as well.
Right,
You know the limit. You know how, like, compliment, all right, if you cannot do this, that's one thing that I really enjoy about it. Not just physically, how much better I'm feeling, but mentally. Like, example, if I'm gonna go for a takedown, I feel like now I have more power behind, you know?
Yeah,
so it gives me that confidence to try push it. Even if the technique is not 100% there, I feel now I have a little bit more power and, like, more confident to keep driving through and keep pushing through it, you know? After I leave here, I feel great. You know, like I tell you, like, even when I train at night after I finish here, I actually train better.
Oh, great.
You know, like, I don't know why, you know, maybe because you work muscles, and then maybe, I don't know what's the fact of it. But, like, for me, what I take mostly that help me when I'm training, when I'm competing, definitely my mental, you know, like, that doesn't make sense, but, like, for me, it's like, oh, I'm deadlifting this much, so it's gonna be easier for me to pick it up someone. Maybe it's not gonna translate the same, but in my mind, it will make me believe that I can. Even if I couldn't, but I'm gonna believe that I can, you know? So definitely, obviously, physically, but mostly for me, what helps me, like I told him, is mentally, you know? Even if I don't have the technique right, I believe that because I'm doing this, I can push through it, you know? And that's, like, in the fighting game, you know, is mostly here, is mental. And of course, you do everything that you can physically to get better, but mostly it's mental, you know, mostly. And that's what this thing, is pushing me a lot.
One thing I was forced to figure out was because I didn't see a lot of people coming up with methods for jiu-jitsu specifically. Like, what's used most in the sport? Like how important is strength? How important is conditioning? How important is the mobility, flexibility? Obviously diet's important, but like, the strength aspect of it is that, you know, it was like CrossFit was really popular at the time. And so a lot of grapplers were doing CrossFit, and you weren't really getting stronger, you're just beating yourself down more. And then, you know, functional training was real popular, so people were trying to do everything in different planes and, you know, kind of doing everything but lift weights. So I figured out, like, there's a heavy strength component in grappling, but, like, jiu-jitsu is different. And I thought, in a funny way, it looked weirdly a bit like bodybuilding, because, you know, you do a set of something, it's gonna last like 45 seconds. Well, you make a grip, you might not be letting go for 45 seconds. So then I started to think that way, and I thought, okay, this kind of has a lot of elements of, there's the strength, but there's also, like, things that you would classically use to build muscle. That's why I started to treat it more like sometimes what people call power building, where we choose something that's more it's like lighter, but we're trying to like enhance the muscles that are going to be used the most. And then we're gonna work on some big movement where we're working on like a deadlift or a squat or a weighted pull-up that will drive the strength to make you literally stronger.
Keep your eyes forward. Pull back a little. Good.
When you came in for ADCC, it's funny because like I knew you would be like almost perfectly on weight. So then I was like, all right, this is actually like fun. This is like what it's like what I do best. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna get him as strong as possible, as best gas tank as possible. And I was like, all right, you need the conditioning. I know he's got the strength. We'll just make that better. But we need the conditioning for that. And so I was like, let's just max that out as best we can. And that was my vision of that. When you can eat as much as you want, do all that, there's no concern there. Yeah, but then Craig Jones came by.
To mess it up.
Yeah.
All our plans.
Exactly. So you had to lose weight now, which is fine, but it changes the approach. Yeah, it definitely changed the approach because you will be lighter. So I think there's natural benefits to being lighter for your gas tank. There's less of a cost. But the diet becomes so important when you're cutting weight like that because you have to have energy to train. Yeah, because it's like if you're not eating right, training becomes just a slug. From a coach's perspective, when you're cutting a lot more weight and when it is more like a MMA, UFC style weight cut, you want to manage like your output. You want to make sure because no matter what, you're going to be training a lot with not the optimal amount of calories. So we have to look for the little signs of like the wheels falling off if they're even there. So we have to really, it brings up challenges, but if you are a strength coach in combat sports and if you have nutrition coaching like we do, like with Bianca helping you out, like there's no combat sport that doesn't have weight cutting. So for me, it's not something I'm concerned about. It's another variable to manage.
Like all my jiu-jitsu career, I never done strength conditioning. And I was very old school. Like, how do you lose weight? Eat less. So I was like literally eating nothing. I was able to perform. And because it's been a long time since I make 80 kilograms. So people are like, oh, how are you gonna make this? It's like, people gotta remember, like, I've been doing this professional and I would not sign for something that I know I cannot make it, So I never missed weight in my life. In my career, I never missed weight. That's something that unacceptable, It's because I was like, I see a lot of people doing nutrition and they look like they're eating a lot, like what I'm doing wrong, And like even the first time you and Bianca sent it to me, even you guys said, you're gonna see it's a lot of food, but do it. And my first reaction was like, because like I always be eating less, And then as you eat all that, and like we've been managing, you see the weight is going down, you're like, it make the same thing and make me think like why I didn't do this before, So luckily it's been easier with you guys, So I'm not just saying that, and all the athletes that have nutrition, they know how easy it is when you have someone that be with you, and like you said, most important, somebody that knows you, be with you every day. And I'm very lucky to have you and Bianca here. You guys see how I'm performing here, and she's sitting right there. She's like, oh, maybe he's not eating what I told him, because he's supposed to have a little more, and that's great, Like I'm very fortunate to have that. I know a lot of guys have nutritionists that they never seen them. It's all online. I'm very fortunate to have you guys here, so it definitely make a huge difference,
When I have my time in here with you is I have a day that's dedicated to heavy strength, like max effort strength. And I say that broadly because it's not like we're powerlifting and you can cleanly have these like 4 days a week where you're doing like upper, lower, and squat, bench, deadlift, whatever. Because like we said before, it's really important that you understand that you're a jiu-jitsu athlete first. So I have one day where I really want to challenge your strength. And then I have another day that's very much devoted to taking everything out that we can, conditioning-wise. We also mix in some more explosive work there. And then the rest of the schedule is stuff you do on your own. So additional conditioning, additional, like what I would call accessories or structural stuff. But so a lot of a lot of what we're going often between deadlift and squat as like a big driver for the lower body. And then we're going, we're using the upper body days often more dynamically. So we're working on the sort of dynamic upper body strength, because I think you have pretty good upper body strength. So I want to make sure you have the endurance and the explosiveness there, and just managing shoulders, elbows, wrists are something that can bother a lot of grapplers. So we're just doing things to just always keep that stuff healthy. And grip strength is something huge. To be able to like execute any technique, you have to be able to actually make a grip. And if you can't make a grip and you can't hold somebody, it's like, that's a problem.
Yeah,
and,
I feel like everything's very well-rounded, because like it translates so well to jiu-jitsu, like even when we do the pull thing, it's like it's a bigger grip, so I'm working my grip at the same time I'm pulling. So it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. Like when you hold someone, you're grabbing, plus using the same type of muscle, So everything so like translates so well, like with the deadlift, like you always try to make me keep the right grip until the last time I can to switch. When you do the cardio day, I feel like it's so, like especially for my style, like passing. So it translates so well, like 2 minutes trying to get the pass, because take time. So it's the same thing there. It's like 2 minutes pushing back and forth, 2 minutes trying to pass, And then the bike, like a 20 seconds blitz pass. That's how I try to translate, like in my style of passing jiu-jitsu, because everything feels same thing as I'm doing jiu-jitsu, Like when we do that rotation, same thing when you have to grab something and yank from, Same thing, same all core and legs. It translates the same as some type of move in jiu-jitsu.
Well, I just tried to, it goes back to what I said before, I just tried to really give the sport the dignity it deserved with respect to strength and conditioning, that the thought process that needed to be there.
And that's the whole time in jiu-jitsu, like you said. Whole time you're grabbing. Even if you're top or bottom, you're grabbing, pushing, it's the whole time. And that's like, literally, we do an hour working that. Even if it's not specific for that, but it's an hour using that.
It's one of the easiest ways to bake it in is to just literally bake it in. You don't have to like sit and just like squeeze a thing for an hour. We're like building it into other things. Yeah, and that's important. So grip strength is huge. Now, wrestling has some of the best, most established strength and conditioning protocols. Some wrestlers are some of the strongest people you'll come across, most athletic, most conditioned. There were things I pulled from there and ideas that I took and just modified them a little bit. And the sled being a big one, you'll see like the best wrestlers are able to just push ridiculously heavy sleds. But it's the right vector of force, like the right direction, like to apply to pushing into somebody, like going into a guard pass.
Yeah, people just think like it's about the taking down. No, actually it's huge for guard pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge,
definitely,
huge.
And you're gonna -80, there's gonna be guys that are gonna have really sticky guards, so you have to really just keep driving at them and try to overwhelm them. So the Terminator robot analogy applies still.
I'm ready.
Different size people.